I've spent the last 10 years doing SEO for e-commerce brands, from small Shopify stores to large retailers with thousands of products. And across hundreds of websites, I keep seeing the same mistakes over and over, which results in SEO that never quite delivers. More and more money going into ads to make up for it, and growth that just stalls out. So in this video, I'm going to share the most valuable lessons from a decade of doing this, things that have consistently worked across every e-commerce brand we've helped. These are the principles that have helped our clients see results like 53% organic revenue growth, 320% increases in transactions, and in some cases completely turning around years and years of decline. Let's get into it. Your site hierarchy is where the money is made. This is the number one thing I see e-commerce brands get wrong, and it's often the simplest to understand. Your website has a natural hierarchy: homepage at the top for brand discovery, category pages in the middle for browsing, and product pages at the bottom for conversion. Now, this sounds obvious, but I've audited hundreds of e-commerce sites over the years, and the majority have this structure either missing, confusing, or competing against itself. When it's messy, Google doesn't know which page to show for a given search, and it often picks the wrong one. And the biggest missed opportunity within the hierarchy is almost always the category pages. Most store owners put all their effort into product pages and blog posts, but category pages are where the biggest commercial searches happen. When someone searches running shoes or garden furniture or mobility aids, they're not looking for one product, they're looking to browse. That's a category search. One of our clients, a retail manufacturer on Shopify, had this exact problem. Their blog was appearing for commercial search terms on the bottom of page 1, but their collection pages were getting almost no traffic. That means they were losing money with every visit because people were landing on blog posts instead of pages where they could actually buy. So here's what we did for them. We identified the key commercial search terms, made sure the right page types existed to target them, and reposition content to match what users actually expected. The blog lost about 200 clicks per week, but the commercial pages gained 500 clicks per week, a net win of 300 additional clicks from people who were actually ready to buy. Within a few months, they went from the bottom of page 1 to consistently appearing in the top 3 positions. If you want to apply this to your own site, start with 3 things. First, map out your full product range and make sure every category has a dedicated page. Second, check that your navigation reflects this. If you sell products for kitchens, bathrooms, exteriors, and interiors, each one should have a clear path in the navigation. I've seen so many stores where entire categories are buried or missing. And then finally, look at your internal linking. Homepage links to main categories, categories link to subcategories and products, then link back up. That creates a logical flow for both users and search engines. Your content might be working against you. Now that we've talked about structure, the next lesson connects directly to it, and it's about the content on your site actively hurting your performance. There are 2 ways this usually shows up. The first is manufacturer copy on product pages. The second is blog content competing with your commercial pages. Let's start with manufacturer copy. If you sell products from other brands, chances are you're using the same product descriptions the manufacturer gave you in the first place, the same descriptions every other retailer has. Google sees this as duplicate content. When 10 stores all have the same description, Google has no reason to rank your version over the others. And if you have a catalog of 2,000 products, all running manufacturer copy, that's 2,000 pages of duplicate content. The good news is you don't need to rewrite everything overnight. Start with your highest value products and write descriptions that include what makes buying from you different from everybody else: your warranty, your shipping, your expertise, and use the language your customers actually use when searching. We tested this with a large retailer by optimizing H1s and metadata across 131 category pages. And what we noticed is that people were using search descriptors like X products for Y people. Both rounds show significant improvements: 66% increase in clicks per day across 59 pages, 44% increase across 72 pages the second time round, and add to carts went up by around 23%, checkouts increased by 40%. The second content problem is your blog content competing with your commercial pages. This is keyword cannibalization. And when you have a blog post about how to choose garden tiles and a category page for garden tiles, both trying to rank for similar terms, Google gets confused about which one to show, and often the blog post wins, even though the category page is the one that lets people buy your products. We had a client where we audited the entire blog and found 48 posts adding 0 value, indexed for months with no clicks, no backlinks, no internal links, and no connection to their products. And you can guess what Google thought about those pages. We deleted and redirected those 48 posts, then shifted the content strategy so every new piece tied directly to products, how to choose them, compare them, and use them. Items added to cart went up 777%. Items purchased went from 0 to 106. Clicks up 189%. Impressions up 294%. And by the way, if any of this is sounding familiar and you think your site might have these kinds of structural or content issues, you can click the first link in the description to book a free intro call with us and we can take a look. Now back to the video. SEO is never just about SEO. This is probably the biggest lesson from my entire career, and it took me years to fully appreciate it. We had a client call recently that started as a conversation about organic performance, and within 45 minutes we were talking about CRM systems, customer data accuracy, order tracking, competitor pricing, and attribution gaps. 30% of their sales were happening offline with no proper attribution. Their dashboard data had inconsistencies that were affecting every decision they made. Their social and email weren't aligned with their search strategy. And the reason I'm talking about this in this video is because this is the main thing that separates brands that grow from brands that don't. You can have a perfectly structured site, great content, but if your data is messy, your strategy falls apart. If your operations are slow or customer service is poor, your conversion rates drop, and no amount of traffic fixes that. If your teams aren't aligned across email, social, paid, organic, your messaging gets diluted and the customer journey starts breaking down. This is what we call going beyond SEO at Growth Hack, because the foundation is often what stunts growth, and sometimes it has nothing to do with the marketing. So before you invest heavily in driving more traffic, ask yourself these questions. Is your tracking set up properly? Is your CRM integrated? Is your attribution accurate? Are your operations running smoothly? Fulfillment, customer service, pricing? Are your other channels aligned with your SEO efforts? If the answer to any of those is no, fixing those things will likely have a much bigger impact than any simple SEO tactic. Don't fear migrations, fear staying on the wrong platform. Sticking with the theme of foundations, one of the most common situations we deal with is site migrations, and most brands approach them the wrong way. They treat migrations as something dangerous, a traffic dip waiting to happen. So they put it off for years, staying on a platform that limits their growth because they're afraid of losing what they have. But the real issues usually come from years of technical debt, outdated structures, and platforms that slow teams down. A well-planned migration fixes that, and we do a lot of migrations. Shopify, Magento, WordPress, headless, custom builds, and the results speak for themselves. One of our clients, Manager Home, had been running on an old CMS for over 10 years. It was slow to update, hard to manage, and we supported their move to Shopify Plus. We focused on deeper navigation with improved internal linking and remapped product relationships. We cleaned legacy redirects, optimized crawl paths, and structured data for visibility. We consolidated overlapping collections, reworked filters and templates, and launched an optimized taxonomy. Since launch, organic revenue is up 211%, transactions up by 320%, and conversion rate up by 164%. Site-wide, the revenue is up by 139% post-migration. And here's a surprising bit. Non-brand clicks actually declined by 15%. Fewer clicks, but significantly more revenue because the right people were finding the right pages. On the flip side, we've also helped clients recover from migrations that went wrong. Another e-commerce client came to us after headless CMS migration had tanked their performance 18 months earlier. Multiple pages competing for the same queries, confused user journeys, old landing pages that didn't convert. Instead of quick fixes, we redirected low-value blog content to commercial pages, repositioned their pricing page to an intent-first courses page, consolidated local area pages around how people actually search, and fixed over 100 technical issues. Organic bookings went up 21%, organic revenue up 15.5% year on year, and hundreds of new terms started driving customers. So if you're sitting on an outdated platform, the risk isn't migrating, it's staying exactly where you are. Set realistic expectations, but look for early signs. Moving on from the tactical stuff, I want to talk about something that I think a lot of people in my industry may get wrong, and that's how long SEO actually takes. You've probably heard SEO takes 6 months. My experience says that's not always true, but it's not as simple as, hey, let's rank number 1 in 90 days. Here's what a realistic timeline looks like for some of our e-commerce clients. In month 1, I look for immediate opportunities, big, high impact changes that require minimal effort. I usually start with existing pages and content, refining what's already there. By month 3, we tend to see big jumps in impressions and ranking positions. Traffic improvements might still be minimal, but the indicators are clearly there. Around month 6, the compounding effect kicks in. Results become consistent, more predictable, and we can start tying activity back to clear revenue increases. By month 12, you see the real power of it. The same amount of input is producing much bigger output because everything you've built compounds on itself. But every site is different, and it depends on where you are in your SEO journey. If a website has already achieved 95% of the immediate opportunities, we're looking for marginal gains over a longer period. If the foundations were never properly set in the first place, which is often the case, even with brands that have worked with agencies for years, then the early improvements can be pretty significant. The key thing is you should never be 6 months into an SEO engagement and have no idea whether it's working. There should always be clear signs of progress along the way. Fundamentals come first before worrying about AI search. And to close out the video, I want to address AI search because I know it's on everyone's mind. There's a lot of talk about AI overviews, GEO, optimizing for ChatGPT, and all these new platforms. And yes, those things are worth paying attention to, but here's what I keep coming back to. If your category and product pages aren't structured properly, if your content doesn't match intent, if your site experience is confusing, AI is not going to fix that. 95% of ChatGPT's users still use Google too. So if you're not winning in traditional search, AI search isn't going to rescue you. One of the growth hack team likes to use the analogy of jiu-jitsu. You can't focus on advanced submissions if you don't know how to defend yourself in the first place. The fundamentals come first. If your site isn't structurally sound, trying to gain visibility in AI platforms just doesn't make sense. But when you get the fundamentals right, AI search visibility becomes an added layer on top of your existing strategy. It's not a replacement, it's a bonus. Now, if you're an e-commerce brand that's dealing with any of the things I mentioned in this video, like flat or declining organic performance, over-reliance on paid ads, structural issues, or you're planning a migration and want to make sure it goes smoothly, click the link in the description to book an intro call with us. We help e-commerce brands build SEO systems that attract new customers, and we've done this successfully for dozens of companies already. So again, click the link below and let's have a conversation. If you want to see how we've helped one of our e-commerce clients 4x their sales with SEO, then watch this video next.